Okay, everybody, it is time to update the mid lane tier list for Dota 2. The best heroes, the worst heroes, the greatest of heroes. Dota 2, mid lane. Everybody say hello to YouTube. First off, biggest S tier hero change of all time for mid. We got a bat in mid. Never mind. Of course, we don't have a bat in mid. So, Arc Warden, we don't care about still. Bat Rider fell off really hard. I think he's probably D tier. He's been nerfed a lot, and honestly, I just don't see his place in the meta either. Like, Venge is in every game. There's a lot of stuff that can break Lasso. Good luck lassoing a PA. Lasso's probably okay against Sven. The mid lane matchups aren't necessarily ideal. Like, both Earth Spirit and Pango do kind of well against Bat. This is mid only, yeah. Let's see. What else do we got? Death Prophet, I don't even remember where I put her last time. I'm going to firmly cement her in D. Actually, very niche. Only pick this hero if you're against Ember Spirit. There's like no other matchup, and if you're against Ember Spirit, unless you can't play any of the other 43 counters, you can play Death Prophet. Earthshaker, I think this hero is still like B or C. It's definitely much worse than before after the nerfs. We'll probably see a decent amount of it at TI. I think it does really well against Pango, and they keep nerfing Pango, so he's not as popular. DP a Kunkka counter? I don't think so. I don't think it's a big deal. Dazzle, like for me, it's unsure, but I think Dazzle is at least B tier, maybe A tier. So because I'm not a Dazzle player and it's not that popular in NA, like I've only seen a few people play it, I haven't seen it feel like I've seen it in tournaments and it looked pretty good, but it hasn't felt oppressive when I played against it or with it. Dragon Knight, honestly, like, don't worry about Dragon Knight. It's just D tier, like, it's just not the good hero. There's plenty of other stuff to play. If you only play Dragon Knight, well, let's say, like, you've played mid for 400 years since Dota 1, and you only play Dragon Knight. Just play offlane now. You're an offlaner. You've been role switched. I just beat a Clockwork mid and it didn't look good at all, so we're going to put that in F tier. Huskar, I think, is A tier. I think that, like, the Burning Spear change wasn't necessary. His Burning Spears last a second longer, so it ends up being like a 13% damage increase on the spears. Hero just feels really strong. The problem with Huskar, I think, is there's a lot of Vessel and Blade Mail heroes in the meta, but he can still lane a Kunkka, the like Pangos. There's like a lot of good matchups for him still. It does suck that Ember's not as popular, but he still has some really good matchups, and the hero just feels like pretty good, honestly. Ember fell off. I think we're going to put him in the average tier. And the thing about heroes, you might think, oh, average, that's okay, I can still pick it. The problem with Dota is that a lot of heroes are kind of like, they can fulfill similar roles. So if one hero's average, there's probably like 3 or 4 heroes you would pick before it that are better at what it wants to do. So, like, yeah, C tier is fine, but you're going to need, like, very late pick for this, and you're going to have to be really good at it. It's not a hero you can just pick every game anymore. Earth Spirit, S double plus tier. You can pick this hero any lane, any weather. You can pick it during a natural disaster. You will always get what you need to play the game and have high impact. Well, maybe not high impact always, but have impact in the game. The most consistent mid hero. There's no bad matchups. There's no good matchups. It's just a good hero. It's the best way to explain it. Very similar to kind of how Pango's played for the past few years, sometimes Ember. Um, Kunkka, I'm going to leave it in S tier as well. There are some bad matchups, but the Aghanims is ridiculous. It did get nerfed a little bit, but this is a hero I'd see just like dominate games no matter what. Very strong in lane, very strong in the early game, very tanky. Does the Blade Mail Heart thing sometimes, does just Blade Mail Ag sometimes, a lot of viable builds, but mostly playing around the Aghanim's power spike. That's a good question. Did Earth Spirit get buffed or changed? They made his Q do bonus damage to creeps, so he can secure range creeps at level 1 before they're even deniable. Like it does 170 damage or something to a range creep level 1, so you just never get denied range creeps unless it's on cooldown. And they made his roll have invulnerability during the roll, so he's just really strong and durable as a core. He's really hard to lock down. You just buy blade mail, like vessel, blade mail type items, heart, octarine. You're just really tanky. Let's keep going down the list here. Invoker, I want to put him in A or B. He's definitely received a lot of nerfs. A lot of nerfs. I think this hero is still going to be very popular at TI. I think it's still very, very strong. A might be too high, but B feels too low, so I'm just going to throw him an A tier and call it a day. I think you can pick this hero, like, similar to Earthspur, I think you can pick it in any game and be fine. You're going to have some harder matchups, like you're going to have a little bit of variance, like some easier matchups, some harder matchups, but it's just very strong. It was banned a lot, but he's received a decent amount of nerfs since, like, the last tournament, so I don't think he's like unplayably nerfed or something, but he was beyond like broken. So, Monkey King has gone up a lot for me. I kind of want to even put him in like C tier. I think that like heroes like Monkey King, when you have last pick, they go up a tier or two. Like if you're against Ember, you're going to go up a couple tiers. I think it's good against Pango. I think it's like probably fine against Earth Spirit even. It's good against Kunkka. Like because Kunkka's in the meta, it gives Monkey King another good matchup that like, you know, Kunkka's almost in every game, it feels like. So you're going to have a good time. Um, the reason why I can't put Monkey King higher on the tier list for mid is just because like if you're not in a good matchup, you're gonna be completely worthless. What else we got here? Lena. I'm gonna put Lena in C tier. This might be a B tier hero. Like Dazzle might be A and Lena might be B. I have not seen a mid Lena win. It looks cool on paper. It looks strong, but I've literally never seen it win. I also think it just does bad in the meta. Like, there's a bunch of Blade Mail Heart heroes running around that are feel hard to burst. You are really strong in lane, but like, what matchup are you really gonna win? It's very, very like weird hero to me. Lesh has gone down a lot. I'm gonna put this hero in D tier. Every hero is just going Blade Mail Heart. That's in the strength attribute, and like there's also just Vessel heroes in the meta. Like good luck playing Leshrac, honestly. Good luck. I salute you if you play Leshrac still. I don't think the heroes received any substantial nerfs that make me feel like it's really bad. I think just the meta shifting has hurt this hero a lot. Like even Earthspirit and Kunkka are probably two of the best heroes against Leshrac, and they're literally an S double plus tier. So I wouldn't even pick Lesh against PL anymore. They buffed Radiance, Bajolner, and Shivas a lot. You can just kind of play normal heroes against PL. Okay, you guys wanted Morphling? I feel like this is just not a mid hero, guys. I don't know. Like, I honestly just want to put it in D or F. I'm gonna put it in niche. Like, It's probably good 1 out of 100 games, and then I would just never pick it mid otherwise. Pop's near the bottom on the list, so we'll get there eventually. There's some like niche heroes that we might see come out at TI, even like Chaos Knight mid, Bristle mid. Like these heroes might get picked off lane and carry a lot, and then just move to mid every now and then. But I wouldn't say they're mid heroes. Um, Lone Druid, I've seen this hero have a lot of success off lane. I think it's a very similar hero to Monkey King. Like, if you have a good lane, it's fine, but it's very weird. I think it's just better in the side lanes. Primal mid, we're not there yet. Relax, guys, relax. Pangolier, I'm gonna put him in B tier. He's fallen a tier every tier list, I think. He was started at S triple plus tier, then fell to S double plus tier, then he fell to S tier, then he fell to A tier, now I think he's firmly in the B tier. I think they made his laning phase harder with the mana cost nerfs, plus all the other nerfs over time. Hero still feels really good, but not to the point where like you can pick this hero unpunished every single game and have insane impact. Like you're gonna have okay impact, but it's not gonna be like 1v9ing every single game that you pick the hero just because you picked it. Necro, I would say, is very niche. This is also a silent hero. Similar to Death Prophet, like, yeah, I think I will say that Necro is one of the best beginner mid heroes. Like, if you're new to mid or you're low MMR, Necro is going to work great for you. But if you're, like, good at mid, there's way better heroes you can pick. The only matchup I'd really want to be Necro, like, is, like, Kunkka or Ember, and honestly, Kunkka's not that bad against Necro. He can go Vessel and stuff. It's just like there's just better heroes that can fulfill his role. Brood's hero, I don't think right now. Here you go. I think it's also a silent hero. Just too slow, honestly, from mid. Puck, Puck is B tier, I think. We'll probably see a lot of this hero at TI. I wouldn't necessarily want to lane a Kunkka, but most of the other heroes I'm fine laning as Puck. You know, Ember went down, so like that's one of the big heroes that punish him in the lane usually. And Quap, which we'll get to at some point, is also a lot more popular now for the same reason. Like Ember's not picked as much. OD, I put in S tier, and I haven't honestly played it that much since the last tier list. I strongly believe it's going to get picked a lot at TI in some capacity. I haven't seen it be too popular in pubs. I think I've seen it picked a decent on the Pro Tracker. But honestly, like, maybe A tier? I think this hero is, like, really underrated. I'm going to throw him in A tier. Oh, yeah, Coddle? I forgot about Coddle. We'll throw Coddle in C. Like, okay, hero. I think that there's just other heroes you can pick, but it's not going to be, like, you're not griefing the game if you pick Coddle mid. There are definitely some games you can carry. The problem with Coddle mid, on top of the fact that he's received a lot of nerfs since he was really popular when 9 kind of invented the playstyle, is good luck playing against Kunkka. There's so many heroes that are just straight hitters for Coddle in this patch. Sure I don't forget anything. Archon 3 to Guardian 3. Honestly, not so bad, bro. Like, now you get some easy games. Build your confidence up. Storms and C. I would say similar power level to Ember. Like, you can pick Storm if you love Storm. I'm not even playing Storm these days. It's one of my favorite heroes. I just don't see, like, the one thing I hate as a Storm Spirit, like the quintessential thing that I've never seen somebody win this matchup in the history of Dota, is Bristleback. Bristleback isn't in every game, like, it's actually pretty popular since the Axe change. But, like, the Bristleback playstyle is very popular. Like, if you play against Kunkka and there's a boat buff, you can't even kill their supports. Everyone has hearts and blade mails. They're also tanky. You just run out of mana. You just don't have enough mana to deal with like the tanky meta, especially if you're against a bristleback, like I said. What about Pugna? Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna put it in not sure. Pugna was like so popular as support, and then it just kept getting nerfed. And I don't know what recently changed because I've seen some people try it. I think if your name's Thompson, it's probably A or S, and if your name isn't Thompson, it's probably C or D. So I'm not necessarily sure. I don't even know what build people go on Pugna these days, to be honest. If I were to like throw out a random guess, I would say that Pugna's probably just like C. Like there's probably some good games for it. Void Spirit, like all the Spirit Bros except for Earth Spirit, are just like completely gimped in the early game. They're just so much worse than they were a year ago. Even 2 years ago, these heroes were like way stronger. Their late game is worse on all the heroes. Their early game is worse. Their mid game is still pretty similar if they have okay items. Like if you have Witchblade Kai Sange on Storm, or you have Echo Saber Manta on Void Spirit, or you have your Maelstrom Kai Sange on Ember, you're gonna feel like pretty similar to a year ago. But getting there is a lot harder, and what happens after that feels a lot weaker. Like all the nerfs to Void Spirit's talents, his damage, Storm's Overload bounces don't work on his teammates. They've nerfed the stun, like the Aghanims. Like there's just so many nerfs to all these heroes late game. This is for mid heroes. Then I'm gonna do one more tier list segment for this, but I have to make sure I make a second video. Queen, I think, is A tier. The one matchup I probably wouldn't want as Queen, maybe two. Like I probably wouldn't want to lane Invoker or Kunkka or Huskar, I guess. But everything else seems good. Like Puck as well. Like you don't really care about the lane that much versus Puck, to be honest, as Queen. It's just annoying in the game. But every other hero Quap does really well against. Very strong Aghanim's timing. Honestly, a lot of the mid heroes either build like Blade Mail and like tanky items, or they have a really strong Ags, like Pangolier Ags, Earthshaker Ags, Quap Ags, Kunkka Ags, OD Ags even. Like there's just a lot of good Ags heroes right now mid. Let's take some from the bottom. Zeus. I think Zeus is like A or S tier, honestly. I think honestly, I'm gonna put Big Z in S tier. I think we're gonna see a lot of this hero at TI. I think the buffs to this hero over time are nuts. I think he's actually insane right now. I think we're gonna see a lot of tops in Zeus at TI probably. Uh, I think we're just gonna see a lot of Zeus in general. Like the hero is insane actually. One of the heroes that does have percent damage in his kit as well, like with the Arc Lightning for all the tanky heroes. Really good follow up hero for other heroes that are going in. I think the spellcasting build is like miles and miles better than the shard build, but the shard build has its place against like melee cores, kind of, besides Bristle. I tried against Bristle, it didn't feel good. I would have rather been spellcasting. But most of the time you pick Zeus like with a purpose. Like let's say they have a Naga, I'm gonna go the shard build. I think the shard is really good at dealing with the illusions, like you have your Manta for all his illusions. You can also go the spellcaster build if they have a Terror Blade or some type of carry you want to burst, like even PA, right? I think that Zeus is just really strong and has like that little bit of versatility with the Manta Shard build. What else do we got? What else do we got? Shadow Fiend, I have not played this hero at all. I think he's back down here with the boys. Ember, Void Spirit, and Storm being out of the meta, those are probably the three heroes I want to play against the most of Shadow Fiend. You have a good lane against Pango, don't get me wrong, but there's so much like setup heroes mid, which is really bad for Shadow Fiend. Like Once Pango has roll, even if he's behind 1,000 net worth versus Shadow Fiend, he can just kill him with the rotations. It's the same thing with Kunkka X marks the spot boat. You have Earth Spirit with ult. Like there's so many mid heroes that can just set up on Shadow Fiend, right? Even like OD, who's been honestly a little underrated and less popular. You have Tornado, Cold Snap. There's just so much setup to kill Shadow Fiend that it just doesn't feel like at least if you're playing against Ember Spirit, Storm, or Void Spirit, you win the lane that it delays their 6 a lot. It's kind of hard to delay the Earth Spirit 6 or the Kunkka 6, or like, you don't even need 6 on Invoker or OD to set up on Shadow Fiend. It makes the hero so much harder to find a place to play. Sniper, we're going to put in niche. Sniper and Necro are the 2 heroes I would recommend any beginner mid player to play. If your MMR is low or you just started to play mid, those are the easiest mid heroes in the world. Go ahead and play them. They're just not that good at higher MMRs. Viper sucks. I'm going to put him in D. You might pick Viper when they have like Bristleback, right? And like Bristleback's kind of popular, but you're not happy about it. Like it's definitely not niche enough where like I would say you can only pick it in one matchup. Spectre's gaining popularity, Bristleback's popular, Tide's been popular. Like there's a lot of heroes that the break can be very useful against. And they're in the meta as well. So like it is pickable, but you're not gonna pick it out on the strength of the hero itself. TA thrown up in the D tier as well. Like I think there's just much better heroes you can pick mid. And a lot of the good matchups just don't exist right now for TA. Primal Beast, probably like super high B tier. Like, I think this hero is very, very good. I don't have too much success on it myself because I haven't played it. I think I played it like 8 times. I think the hero itself is strong, but it's like kind of a worse version of Earth Spirit in some ways, and like it does some other stuff. Like the ult is really strong, pierces VQV, but you kind of pick it to roam early and to like have consistent impact in lane. But there are much worse matchups for Primal than there are for Earth Spirit, and there are some matchups that are really good for Primal. That and like Earth Spirit doesn't really have that. Primal and Earth Spirit definitely help the side lanes win, right? And I think it's just easier for Earth Spirit to do that. Primal is still very good, though. Primal might be A tier. I think as far as Captain's Mode goes, you can cut a lot of these heroes above Primal out because they're going to get banned. And then all of a sudden, he's kind of king of the hill. So it just kind of is like a product of that. Primal Ags is good to break, but it's kind of hard to get to. Like you're gonna buy Blade Mail Kai'San or Blade Mail BKB. Like you're gonna buy other items first, so you're not like gonna have the break at the beginning of the game. See, am I forgetting any heroes? Razor, I'm not sure if it's a mid hero. I think Timber's not really a mid hero anymore either. Ricky's not really a mid hero anymore either. Tinker? Where is Tinker? Can't see him. I don't know. I'm gonna put him in C tier. This hero is really hard to value, simply because if you've played him 1,000 times, it's gonna look S tier in a lot of the games that you like play well in. People don't know how to play against it very well still, since all the reworks. But unless you were like an absolute king of the earth on Tinker, the hero itself is kind of clowny. I don't know how to put it. Like, very, very unique playstyle, which is cool, and becomes like a monstrosity late game. But it's very difficult to play, and it's not just base value good, I don't think. Which one of the SABT tier heroes are easy to learn from scratch? That's a good question. Probably Zeus, honestly. Like Zeus would be the easiest to learn from scratch. Zeus, Primal, uh, Kunkka, OD even. I think that Puck, Pango, Earth Spirit, Queen are really hard. Invoker would be like too much work as a beginning hero too, even though I don't think the playstyle is that hard. I don't think that Earth Spirit is that hard to learn, but the playstyle is hard to learn, if that makes sense. Like, Earth Spirit doesn't farm neutral creeps, and most core players should farm neutral creeps if they have nothing better to do, which is a lot of the time. And maybe there is things you can do as a beginner that you don't see. Like there's probably kills or ganks you're not looking for because you don't know what to look for, like you're new to the role. You're just gonna fall behind if you're not like if you don't have enough game sense. Whereas a hero like Zeus, very easy to farm with, Kunkka, very easy to farm with, OD can farm. Like scaling is important. Yeah, Snap has just not got picked at all from my experience. Every time I get on my team offlane, I get mad too. So Sand King is pretty much something over here. And just make sure I don't forget any heroes. Tiny, we're gonna put in F tier, just cause I hate what they've done to my boy. Where is Meepo? We're gonna put Meepo in niche. If you play this hero 10,000 games, sure you're gonna win if you go mid on it. I think it's an offlane hero ever since they reworked the Ags. The only time I've ever seen it work is offlane. They nerfed Atos, and now he doesn't really have a build, so it's just kind of unplayable. I haven't talked to every person I've talked to that plays Meepo, so the hero is just kind of unplayable right now. Like he doesn't have a good early game build. Dragonlance got nerfed too much. There's no good stat items. Atos was like the only good item. Even though the Ags is really strong, it's just not good. Razor and Dawnbreaker not really mid heroes right now. I could put Razor in D tier for you. It makes you happy, but it's just not as like it's not something I'd consider. Windranger's not a mid hero either. Windranger would be an F or low D. Pudge similar, like Pudge carries viable. Pudge middle is kind of a clown meme, but like it's okay if you're against Naga. I would just pick other heroes against Naga. Yeah, I think that's the whole list. I think that's absolutely the whole list. Yeah, Gyro mid's not a thing.